his scandal was not just that he was cheating on his wife, but it was that he was involved with young men.
Mm-hmm.
Similar to, I'm just going to say, I'm pretty sure they pulled this from the Bishop Eddie Long story
Yeah.
because that's what it pretty much was like verbatim. So Austin Crew, there was just an amazing scene where he confronted him. So in this redemption, in this road to redemption, they were doing this thing where they were like going outside on the street, and hey, his wife Regina Hall had a sign that says "Honk for Jesus," and they were honking, blah 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 blah. So this young man came up, held up traffic, and confronted him. And he said things like, "Did you ever care about me? Did you even love me?" So let's talk about that, because the church, for long standing, right? And it's funny because Sterling K. Brown's character preached in the pulpit against it, right? He was like, let's talk about this homosexual agenda. And everybody in the audience is like, hey, man, yes, preacher, because we see this a lot. And one thing that I've seen growing up, I'm a PK, and things that I've seen growing up in churches is usually the people who preach against it and talk against it and speak against it are the ones who are actually doing it in secret. So they are publicly shaming those who openly live their lives, while behind closed doors, they're doing the same thing and misusing their power. Okay.
They think it's a
Misusing
smoke screen. That's what they really think.
Misusing their power. So what did y'all think about that there's two scenes that we're going to talk about, but first we'll talk about that scene, that confrontation scene with that young man who was not only abused, but he was abused spiritually, emotionally, mentally, all of those things.
I think for me, the buildup. The buildup was done very well, because the way that he sits there and contemplates everything, and Regina at that car begging, still trying to protect this man after everything,
man,
while she's there in this mind makeup. And if we want to be honest, the mind makeup to me represented mimes don't talk. It's all movement, it's all show.
Silence.
It's always very over dramatic for you to understand the message. And that's what she's been this whole time, from the way that she dressed to the way that she talked to the way that she carried herself to cover up these things for her husband was all over dramatic. And then you see her be the most human she could be when she's begging, please do not do this.
Yeah, don't take this.
And this young man gets out that car anyways. And she follows him, but she gives up. Now, I don't want to say she gives up, but I think she knows I gotta brush my hands of this.
Yeah.
And it's not even for me as an actor, I'm watching the reactions of everyone. I rewound that scene and just watched Regina listen to this young man's heart and have to take this in, like, and in that moment, I feel like what I got from it is, dang, me and Khalil feel the same.
Wow.
Woo. Chills.
She could relate more to Khalil in that moment than she could to her own husband. And so I think they both did a masterful job, and even Sterling K. Brown sitting there having to take it in.
Yep. What about how but even in that, he took it in, but then at the same time, and we'll go around, he blamed the boy. He made it seem like the gaslighting for me was
victimization.
It was crazy. But then I said again, we see this happen in real life. I guarantee we didn't see it, but I guarantee you during the course of this whole entire thing, they probably kicked that boy out of the church. They probably sent emails out to the staff talking about, oh, he can't be here.
Don't talk to him.
If you see him security, don't let him into the church. All of these things happen in real life. I want our listeners to know that these things are actually happening in real life.
Yes.
But what did y'all think about this?
I just immediately, my heart broke for Regina, because I think about a woman who lost her voice. I think about this woman who lived this pseudo, who probably at one time believed, like when So the hat scene, I know we're not talking about the hat scene, but I
Mhm.
like, we're talking about how she dressed herself, how she adorned herself, so she looked a certain way, and just the, I don't even know what this is called. I get that it's just such the effort to make pretend. I keep thinking of Geppetto or puppetess, so that I
Mm.
make sure I look the part. And it's just my heart just broke for her. And I'm just thinking, girl, first of all, how do you know? How did you even, I'm sure you read a story, but how did you even know? Because I believed when she was standing there begging, I believed her. I like,
Mhm.
don't do this. Don't like, it's like, don't go away, sir. Don't do this. But
Mhm.
she just, how did this woman express this? And I think about the millions of women who are in pseudo relationships that are walking around as known as beards in a community
Ooh,
that,
yeah.
it's in the church. It's disgusting. The place that we are to heal and be whole, we live this pseudo mask. That's it. Thank you, Holy Spirit. This woman literally had a mask that she tied on every single day to make sure, wait, let
Mhm.
me adjust it. Oh, it's right. And even so, I love the clippets where they would show like the scene. Wait, you was cut. You didn't film that, right? I love that. I
Mhm.
love that. So I love it, but I hate it.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I love it, but I hate it because it exposed those real moments. Those are
Mhm.
real life moments.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Those are people's prayers. Those are real life tears in people's closets that
Mhm.
people are trying to figure out how to find their lives again. Because that's
Mhm.
what that man, when I saw him, like, how am I supposed to pick up and go on after this? What am I supposed to do? I loved you. I
Right.
thought this was real. I
Yeah.
thought this was something. Child, I just had so many moments in those moments. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I had
Mhm.
so many moments.
No, you're
That's
good.
good.
Lizzy,
And
before you tap in, Lizzy, before you
Mhm.
how
tap in,
dare
Lizzy,
it's such an mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. So before you tap in, Lizzy, I do want to key in on something that Jamie talked about.
Mhm.
Um, and it was she used the term beards.
Yeah.
And we gotta wake that up. And I know you deal with many churches around the globe, right?
Mhm.
And that's something when it comes to the church's relationship to the LGBTQ community, it's like rather than accept the people, they force the people to marry people who they're not even interested in.
Yeah,
They
Mm.
that's
force
fair.
people
Yes.
to enter these relationships with people that they have no interest in, and then that affects them, that affects their future kids, that affects everyone, and they have to continue to, like you were just talking about, Jamie, play this part. They have to show, oh, we have to look like the perfect family, we have to look like this, we have to do these things. Talk to me about why do you think that this is so prevalent in churches, and especially in the black churches, African American churches.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Who?
Sorry. I was
Lizzie
like,
or Lizzie
I'm
J
like, which
or
Lizzie?
Lizzie?
Um, so I think that it's prevalent because, so one, I'll say this. I think they did an excellent job of displaying what an extreme belief is. A lot of people say cult, but there's a difference if you study them psychologically. And so, in an extreme belief, there is a level of control and manipulation. And so, when it comes to traditional marriage, men and women, things like that, there is a controlling aspect that if I marry you to a partner that I can also control, then I can make you a power couple under me, and therefore you'll never leave. And so a lot of the relationships that are forced together or put together are based on this extreme belief that your spiritual parent or your pastor or bishop is going to know what's like the keys to your destiny is from his life. So he's going to know that this is the person that you should be with. And also, when they deal with heavy shame and condemnation about homosexuality themselves, they're trying to beat it out of you. And so, whatever way that they can whip you into place, that's what they're going to do. And so, for women, I feel like the church especially tells women, like, just fall in line, and this
Mhm.
your man is going to have a struggle. So pick a struggle. So it's so every man is going to be
Mhm.
flawed, right? And don't you
Jesus.
want to do God's work? Don't you want to be a kingdom couple with a kingdom marriage? And so a lot of women get forced into these positions where they're getting destroyed in their identity, they're getting destroyed in their purpose, and they're told, sit next to the man, protect him, love him, care for him, and that will be enough. But oftentimes they're suffering in silence, and the control and emotional abuse is causing them to therefore have Stockholm syndrome to protect their abuser. And so that's really what I look at it as, is that you fall in love with this person because everybody says to. You have to do your duty as a wife. You have to do your duty as a kingdom citizen. And so you keep showing up, because if I don't do that, where will I belong, or who will love me? Because there's not options for me to date outside of this system, cult, or extreme belief.